Thank you so much, everyone. Let's get back to the conversation and perhaps a local politics that's taking a global dimension. And that is the dethronement and the banishment of the emir of Kano, Muhammad Sanusi II. The new emir of Kano, Aminu Ado Bayero, has received his letter of appointment from the Kano state government. The Kaduna state government has, however, given a second appointment to the former emir of Kano, Muhammad Sanusi II, within just about 48 hours since his dethronement. The latest appointment from Kaduna State is the conferment of the former emir as a chancellor of the Kaduna State University, Castle. He succeeds the pioneer chancellor, His Highness Malam Tagwa Sambo, the chief of Mora, who was appointed to the role in 2005. The state government says the appointment is in recognition of Sanusi's strong commitment to education, with a belief that it would provide symbolic and substantive leadership in raising the profile of the institution as an emerging center of learning. The Kaduna state government had earlier appointed the post emir into the board of the State Investment Promotion Agency in recognition of his experience, intellect, and networks. Meanwhile, the Nigerian president, Muhammadu Buhari, and his officers come out to say he is not in any way involved whatsoever in the dethronement of the former emir of Kano, Muhammad Sanusi II, noting that all such insinuations are untrue, malicious, and politically motivated. According to a statement by the president's special assistant on media and publicity, Mr. Garba Shehu, the president does not have a history of intervening in the affairs of any state in the country unless the issue is of national consequence. Let's get a sense of what this means altogether. The presidency is speaking about this. Kaduna state government is coming to the aid of the deposed emir. What is the place of the Kano state government, especially when they told Channels Television earlier today that they were not responsible for the banishment of the former emir. I have joining me from our Kano studio, the secretary to the state government of Kano state, Mr. Usman Alhaji. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. And from our Abuja studio, I have Professor Hawal Yadudu, is a former legal advisor to late former President Yaradua and professor of law at the Bayero University in Kano, and a former senator from Kano, from Kaduna State, Senator Shehu Sani. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on tonight. So clarify for us, Mr. Usman Alaji, you were the one who made a pronouncement of the dethronement of Emir of Kano. We heard earlier on from the Attorney General of Kano State that the former Emir was now banished by the state government. So who banished him?
Well, let me start by admitting that I'm not a lawyer. That's number one. But number two, I also know that in this country, there are these three functions. The legislature makes the law. The executive, implements the law, while the courts interpret it. So we have a law before us, the Local Government Law 2019, which was lawfully and taking all the necessary procedure, passed by the State House and then assented to by the executive governor. And based on that law, which gave, the legal backing and right to deal with this matter, the executive governor, with unanimous support of the executive council of the state, took the action it took, which was in any respect legal and in order. Now, issue of removing the governor, I heard our Attorney General who said it wasn't part of the decision of the Executive Council. That is correct. But I want to say also, although not a lawyer, but I know the right, of public, and I know that in many instances where the right of the people are involved, then it overrides probably the right of an individual. This is a circumstance where an emir is removed and another is appointed. And by perception of probably the security agencies is that his being there in Kano can definitely in one way or the other bring about maybe crisis, maybe lack of peace in the area. I feel that is the driving, thought and power that maybe made them to remove the emir from Kano. And I must tell you, Sheun, that in the last 4 years, this government of Kano State under the leadership of Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje has done everything humanly possible, has done anything and everything to ensure that peace and security prevails in Kano, and that so many awards and recognitions and merits were given to Kano State governor and the government as being adjudged the most secure and the most peaceful state in this country. So really the movement of the emir to another place, I believe is in public interest. It is to safeguard and ensure that there is peace and security in Kano State.
Mr. Alaji, just to clarify for the public, for the sake of, because people were quick to say it's fake news when some stories are not properly put in perspective. So clarify to us in simple language. The government of Kano State did not banish the former emir. Are you saying the security operatives, the police, for example, took the initiative to banish the emir, former emir? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm also saying that whatever happens in Kano, the Kano State government has taken step by step a legal action which is in order, which is all right. And then this issue of movement of the emir didn't start from Kano or this time around. If we look back into history, all the emirs that were dethroned or removed had to be moved from that very location, that very city, state, to another place. I believe, like I said, I'm not a lawyer, but I know that public have a right, and therefore, maybe for the, to ensure that there is no crisis and peace is maintained in that place. Go back in history, look at it. Jokolo from Kebbi, from Sokoto, Desuki, even here in Kano, the grandfather of Muhammad Sanusi II was moved to Azare. And so this has been in history. It has been like that. And like I said, I know that the state government did what it was legal, what they know is legal, and we left it at that. The movement.
No, so I mean, Mr. SSG, we wanted to know who took the decision. Are you saying the government is not aware of who took the decision? If the Attorney General said in the morning that it wasn't the state government that took the decision, who then did? Are you aware of who took him to Nasarawa? Because we understand that he opted to be taken to Lagos State.
I'm saying that the decision the Executive Council under the chairmanship of the governor took was plain and clear. It was based on the law that provided for it, that it was decided to remove and dethrone the emir, and also to take the other due process going through the kingmakers to make recommendation for the governor to approve and then appoint a new emir. So as I said, the decision was not part of the decision made.
You made that clear,
council.
SSG. You made that clear earlier on.
Yeah.
But what we're trying, I mean, you probably are saying it in a different way. But what you have not told us, and the question I've asked, this is the fourth time I'm asking the same question, is who took the decision? Categorically, you have said it is not the state government. Then who did? Is it the police?
Well, what I don't know is what difference, of course, it even makes to you. What I know, I said it was no part of our decision, one. Number two, there is history, there is tradition of doing this thing over time. And somebody is vested with the responsibility to ensure peace and tranquility and security, prevails. And therefore, if a decision is taken based on also the rights of other people, the generality, the majority of the people. I have seen in many cases where, if you are talking about the who did it, like I said, our decision is clear. And of course, the need to remove the emir from Kano is also very clear.
Okay, so I mean, it's pretty straightforward. There's a dethronement on one hand, and there's a banishment on one hand. You said it categorically, and you've owned up to it that the government of Kano dethroned him, but who banished him? Is it the Council of Traditional Kingmakers in Kano or the police? Just so that there's a reason why we're asking this.
No, I understand. What I can only do is to tell you what I know, what I understand, what I also believe and stand by. And therefore, probably your question should also be directed to investigative, system, so that you can discover. I have told you what the state government has done. I have told you that this has been the tradition. This has
Mr.
been
SSG, okay, that noted and that taking. Let's ask Professor Yadudu what exactly is the reaction, because from what is happening on the ground, Professor Yadudu, give us a sense of what this means, the banishment.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. I'm happy I have listened through what the Attorney General of Kano State, my learned colleague, has said on the banishment, and I've also listened to what my senior brother, the Secretary to the Government of Kano State, has said about the banishment. Now, there are no two ways about it. The letter that the Secretary to the Government of Kano State, Usman Al-Haji, the gentleman who has just spoken, wrote conveying the dethronement of the emir, was very, very explicit that he has been dethroned, and also he has been relocated to Nasarawa. It is not in somebody's imagination. The letter, the very letter that the government wrote, was very, very explicit. You are dethroned, you are relocated to Nasarawa. So there is no nitpicking about who authorized the banishment. Now, whether it has happened in the past, it is not something that I will take pride in what Lugard did to the Emir of Kano, who resisted him and banished him to Lokoja. It's not something that I would take pride today. In any event, even if it has been done in the past, the 1999 Constitution is very, very clear that no one shall be deprived of his freedom of movement, and the court have spoken. The very example he gave of Emir Mustafa Jokolo was the very example that he ought not even have referred to, because the court has said it was illegal, it was unlawful, it was unconstitutional, and for that reason, he moves about as a free man. Now,
I mean, Professor Yadudu, apologies to butt
yes.
in, because that letter you are referring to, that's what we're scrolling. I will go back to Kano, but before I do that, Professor Yadudu, give us a sense of what you make of the reaction from the presidency, that the president said he had no hand in it.
Yeah, well, as a matter of fact, I have no way of knowing whether the president has a hand or he has no hand in it. Now, all I can read is what I see. When you have an emir, in my view, unlawfully removed, and when you have an emir unlawfully removed by the Kano State Executive Council, not by what the law that was passed, and which is also itself unlawful, said, the deposition of an emir is not the power, or the appointment of an emir is not within the purview of the Executive Council. So the sense is that you have a letter explicitly saying that you are removed, you are dethroned, you are relocated to Nasarawa, and you have people who come into the residence of the emir, the former emir, and we have seen in the pictures of the aeroplane conveying him people who belong to the government, who are ordering how things will be done. How can you say that the government has no hand in that? And of course, as for the federal government,
Professor Yadudu, apologies again to Botin. If a former governor, Mr. Kwonkwontso, came out to say, in quote, and he was speaking in Hausa and in an interview, and was reported to have said, President Buhari is interfering in the affairs of Kano State, insinuating that President Buhari ordered the dethronement of the emir of Kano. Could there be any truth in that?
No, I can't speak to that, and I don't think one is in a position to say that the president ordered. Maybe the president did not take an action to prevent an illegality being committed. And in some way, his agents, the police, the SSS, have participated in the perpetuation of an illegal removal of a citizen of this country. So for me, I'm not ascribing motives. I'm not saying that he ordered it or he did nothing. But the fact on the ground indicates that the government specifically ordered that he be removed, the Kano State government. The police have provided the facilities to remove him, moving him from one place to another, not to talk about the indignity of driving him in a car for 7 hours from one end of town to another. Now, I cannot say that the president directly ordered this, but his agents are seen deeply involved in carrying out these things.
All right.
There is no
let's
other
take
way
it.
of
Let's
saying
take a breather. Let's take a breather. We will go back to Kano after the break, but we still have one of our guests tonight, Senator Shehu Sani. There is another dimension into this whole saga, and that is the Kaduna side of things, when the governor seems to have embraced the man that had been rejected in Kano, a few kilometers away. When we come back from the break, we will go back to Kano, ask Senator Shehu Sani in our Abuja studio, and we balance things up and see what exactly is happening in the politics of the northern region of Nigeria. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.